Najeela the Blade Blossom versus Sliver Hivelord. We have a means of getting into more lands. Yeah, it's not a fast hand, but we'll keep it because we do have a couple of lands into 3 visits. And then we can probably go for Champion of Lamball actually. And then yeah, we can see where we want to go from there. Might even secure the wastes sooner rather than later. As of right now, we're going into wooded foothills, into I don't know what, probably a stomping grounds. That way we'll be able to 3 visits next turn. Cavern of Souls, of course, will name warriors, because Najeela is a warrior tribal commander. Whenever a warrior attacks, we may have its controller put a tapped white warrior creature token into play. That comes in tapped and attacking, and then for Wooburg we can untap all attacking creatures. They gain trample, lifelink and haste until the end of turn, and after this phase there's an additional combat phase. We can only do that during combat. So there's plenty of combos we can get off with that, one of which is with the use of Nature's Will. That is in our hand. And I've made the mistake of rendering some videos whilst recording, so I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. But if you're seeing this, then clearly I've deemed it okay to watch. And I'm actually uploading Najeela all this week as a thank you for 200 subscribers. Yeah, of course, that will be Warrior. So yeah, a few days ago managed to reach 200 subscribers, so we have done that in under 3 months, which I think is pretty good. So as a thank you all for that, I am going to put out some Najeela content all this week. I tested the waters with it alongside some, let me just think about what we actually want here. Black and green I think would be good. We have a means of blue in our hand. Yeah, I tested the waters running it outside a Lazav the Multifarious deck last Sunday I think it was, and the views were really good, and whenever I have uploaded a video against Najeela I've noticed the views are good as well, so people obviously want to see it, and I think this is a good means of thanking you all for your continued support. Some bonus content for you. Hopefully this turns out alright. Southern Scrying from our opponent. They want to get into Wooburg just like we do, because that is the cost of their Sliver Hivelord. That is a 5/5, and it gives slivers you control indestructible. So it's a 5/5 for 5 mana, and it is indestructible, but it will also give all the other slivers indestructible as well. Sometimes the Wooburg slivers just act as a Wooburg commander, generic Wooburg commander, but you can assume that Sliver Hivelord actually is a sliver commander most of the time, as opposed to just being a generic indestructible 5/5. I think we are going to go for our... Yeah, it's unfortunate we don't have more cheap creatures. I think what I would quite like to do is go in for Champion of Lambholt and get that onto, get some +1/+1 counters onto it as soon as possible. And we'll just grab another tap land with the Misty Rainforest. Not the fastest game with Najeela, I actually just had a little tester. I tend to do little tester games before I record, just to knock the rust off a little bit. And won on turn 5 or 6, so that's a pretty typical game with Najeela. We'll go for blue and white here. Our opponent has held up 2 blue mana, so we may well be seeing a counter spell. Not sure how likely it is that our opponent's playing counters in a sliver deck, but Might be worth playing around it nonetheless. Okay, we do get into another warrior for 2 mana, so I actually quite like here going for an uncounterable Bramblewood Paragon, because that will make our army bigger, and then we can go in for Najeela next turn. And the Champion of Lambholt, of course, will get a +1/+1 counter from that. And that will eventually get to the point where it makes our entire team unblockable. We'll swing in with the Champion of Lambholt and draw a card. And I wish I hadn't F6 now, because I don't get to play that land. Hopefully we don't draw into one next turn, otherwise I'll regret that mistake. So this is what we want to do with Najeela. We want to get down as many warriors as we can, hopefully buff them all. Next turn, if we manage to get down a Najeela and have it stick, then what we can do is swing in with all 3 of these. They won't be able to be blocked because the Champion of Lambholt says that whenever creatures with power less than Champion of Lambholt's power can't block it, or can't block creatures we control, I should say. So we'll actually be able to swing in with lots and lots of warriors, and the warriors that come in with Najeela will be able to enter as 2/2s thanks to the Bramblewood Paragon. This is any colour land our opponent controls, so we'll leave that one untapped. Go for... yeah, we can hold up Boros Charm. That will make our army indestructible if our opponent decides they want to board wipe next turn. So here, of course, we can't always yes to Najeela, because if our opponent swings in with a warrior, I don't know if there are any Sliver warriors, I've no idea, but yeah, if there are, then we'll end up giving our opponent some extra tokens when one of their warriors swings in. None of this can be blocked, and we do, of course, draw a card off the Mindblade Render, and we get into another land which we could have played this turn had we have played the Exotic Orchard last turn. Mistake on my part, I F6'd when I shouldn't have done. We can at least hold up Boros Charm though, so I don't think it's going to hurt us too much. And yep, gonna see our opponent's commander here. That won't do it for them. We can just swing straight through that. And they are tapping down for some things here. Slivers get +1/+1, yeah. Too little too late, I'm afraid. Slivers, if they manage to draw the game out for any length of time, then they can go nuts on you. But unfortunately for our opponent, they haven't managed to drag the game out or keep us from doing what we're doing. So we'll go for Mana Confluence, and all we have to do here is swing in, because all our stuff is unblockable thanks to the Champion of Lambholt. And we'll just always yes to these things. Don't want anything to last any longer than it has to for the sake of our opponent. And of course every new creature that comes in makes the champion even bigger. And all the creatures themselves enter with a +1/+1 counter on them thanks to the Paragon. And then when we hit our opponent we will draw a card as well. So good game to our opponent. It's just unfortunate really. I think it's a little bit of a spiky commander versus a more casual fun build. Unfortunately, with Magic Online, you don't actually have much say in the type of opponents that you come up against, so that's just bad luck to our opponent. We'll see how far we take their life total down. Yep, and we would have drawn into Birds of Paradise, which we don't need. That's for the early game to help get Najeela out. Okay, our opponent's left the game. I was just going to say that it was unlucky to them. But yeah, anyway, Najeela, the Blade Blossom. That is exactly what we want to do. A little bit of a slow start, but luckily for us, our opponent was playing a more casual type of build, I think. Or they were just unlucky with the cards that they had. They didn't have any of their removal, seemingly. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed the bonus content, Najeela. Hope it's a nice surprise for you. And thank you very much for 200 subscribers. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.